Resumes will wait for 1 more minute and we'll start. Okay.
Okay.
Chaitanya ma'am, we can start the session.
Okay, sir.
A very warm morning to all our esteemed guests, speakers, and participants. We are delighted to welcome you to day 2 of the 7th International Conference on Advanced Computing and Communication Technologies for High Performance Applications, hosted by the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, FISAT. As we continue our journey through this intellectually enriching conference, let me take a moment to reiterate the significance of this international platform, which brings together researchers, academicians, and professionals from across the globe to deliberate on innovations in computing and communication. Let us seek the blessings from Almighty to commence today's proceedings. And to begin with, I invite Dr. Rashmi R., Associate Professor of Computer Science and Engineering Department, FISAT, to deliver the welcome address. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Ritika. Good morning, all. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the second day of 7th IEEE International Conference on Advanced Computing and Communication Technologies for High Performance Application, which is a prestigious platform that brings together researchers, academicians, and professionals to explore cutting-edge advancements in communication and computing. A warm welcome to all the distinguished delegates, participants, our head of the department, Dr. Paul Primatai, respected faculty members, and dedicated department staff. It's a special moment for us today as we welcome back one of our proud alumnus, Dr. Amrith Krishna, an accomplished AI researcher, consultant, and entrepreneur. Dr. Amrith is currently leading SKILLZO, an innovative generative AI-driven companion platform Yes, yes, but it's favored. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Rishmi ma'am. It's now my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker for the morning session, Dr. Amrith Krishna. Dr. Amrith Krishna is an AI researcher, consultant, and entrepreneur, currently focused on building SKILLZO, a generative AI-driven companion platform. He previously led the Applied AI division at Bharat Gen, a Government of India-backed initiative in generative AI. He holds an MTech and PhD in computer science from IIT Kharagpur and is a proud alumnus of FISAT, having completed his BTech in computer science and engineering during 2008-2012. Dr. Amrith has been a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Cambridge and IT University, and has collaborated with leading researchers on projects funded by Facebook Research. His work lies at the intersection of human-AI interaction, language, and learning, with a strong foundation in large language models, conversational AI, and computational linguistics. He has authored over 30 research papers with 500 plus citations and serves as an action editor for ACL Rolling Review, reviewer for top-tier journals, and co-organizer of several international conferences. Let us now listen to Dr. Amrith Krishna's keynote address on the topic, Rethinking AGI in Practice and Hype, Intelligence, Emergence, and Everything We Think We Know. I cordially invite Dr. Amrith Krishna for the keynote address. So please.
Thank you, Ritika, for a warm welcome. So without much ado, I think I will start straight away. So AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, is one of the most talked ideas in AI today, but it's also one of the most variably defined. So if you look around, you will find very different narratives depending on who is speaking. Some come from AI organizations, others from academic labs, and many now from media and policy spaces. And these narratives often diverge, and they disagree not just on when AGI might arrive, but on what it even is. In this keynote, I want to unpack those differences. We will look at the assumptions behind some of these claims, the role of hype in shaping this perception, and how definitions quietly influence research directions and public discourse. We will also explore the timelines, thresholds, a little bit on the architectures, and what that tells us about we are right now. So I believe there is around 15 minutes of Q&A. However, in between, if you feel there is something that needs to be discussed further, please feel free to interrupt me and raise a query. And I assume I am audible. I assume my screen is already visible to everyone. If not, just let me know.
Yes, Amrith. Yes.
Sure. So Ritika has already given a warm introduction about myself, so I don't think I will spend a lot of time here. So yeah, so I started my journey into engineering, specifically computer science engineering, from FISAT back in 2008. Then I completed my master's and PhD at IIT Kharagpur. Then I went on to do my postdoc at IT University Copenhagen and later at University of Cambridge. My work at Cambridge was sponsored by Meta Research. I was also a staff scientist at Unifor, a conversation automation unicorn. After that, I have been more or less doing sovereign AI consultancy or R&D consultancy in AI. I also do provide my volunteership at various academic forums, including ACL Rolling Review and other top-tier venues in NLP and AI. I also co-host an AI education YouTube channel with over 1 lakh subscribers. So with that context, let's start by stepping back to a question that seems simple, but that rarely gets a consensus. And that is nothing but, what is AI? So I honestly want to hear from some of you that what exactly do you think AI is? And to be very clear, I'm looking for something based on how you see it around you today. I'm not looking for a textbook definition or a formal definition, but trying to understand your own sense of it. So when someone says AI in today's world, as someone who are technically involved in this field, what comes to the mind for you? So there are no wrong answers here, but is it possible to hear a few perceptions from the audience? Feel free to unmute your mic, and you can just say whatever that comes to your mind. Any takers? All right, so maybe I will start with mine. Yeah, I think I was about to hear from someone. So here is what I would see AI as. And to give a context to it, here we see three distinct feats of human capability: a strong man engaged in an extraordinary display of strength, a sprinter pushing the edge of physical speed, and the third highlights a group engaged in work that draws on human intelligence. What draws us to these acts aren't just their outcome, but the deliberate effort that is required behind them. So we admire these individuals because they represent mastery earned through sustained practice, attention, and refinement over time. These are outcomes that require structured learning, deep cognitive or physical adaptation. Now, if we compare that to their mechanical counterparts, a forklift in reality lifts more than any strong human present in Earth. A car outruns any sprinter that we know of. Yet we don't admire these machines in the same way because their capability isn't earned, they just operate. And the same holds true for AI. AI systems simply automate and scale those tasks that would require intelligence and skill if done by humans. Now, that doesn't mean that these systems necessarily have intelligence in them. They merely automate these tasks. But unlike other forms of automation, it's common to see these systems interpreted in human terms, sometimes even as conscious agents. A well-known case from 2002 illustrates this tendency clearly. So here I'm referring to an incident in 2022 when a Google engineer claimed that Lambda, one of their conversational language model, had become sentient. He pointed to its expressions of emotion, fear of being turned off, and a statement that it was, in its own words, a person. So in a way, this was a real-world instance of Turing test where a human mistook an AI system for being sentient. The claim was rejected by the organization and he was later dismissed. However, it points to a classic challenge in observing intelligence itself. So there is a well-known method until you ask how it does. Then it overthinks and it simply can't move. The point is, when something comes naturally, trying to explain it can make it fall apart. Intelligence is a bit like that. It's deeply inherent to us, yet hard to define clearly. So the question here is that, do we really have a clear definition of intelligence and thought? Or are we not there yet, leading to a scenario like the centipede's dilemma? If today's systems aren't AGI, what exactly are we waiting for? And how would we know when we have crossed that threshold? This uncertainty about what counts as intelligence shows up in how we think about AGI, when it will arrive, and there is no consensus. In fact, there is just a wide range of views from across the field. So if we look at the timeline predictions from different parts of the field or different areas of the field, we can say that there are AGI timelines proposed by researchers, founders, and other AI leaders. To help frame the range of views, I will group them into 4 broad categories. The first group, which I will call the imminentists. So they expect AGI in a couple of years or even sooner. This includes Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, Emad Mostaq, or Dario Amodei, CEO of Anthropic, among others. The second group, I call them the threshold watchers, take more of a probabilistic view than specific dates. They do acknowledge rapid progress, but are careful about predicting when a true threshold might be crossed. So it involves people, AI pioneers, actually RL pioneers like Richard Sutton, where he claims there is a 10% chance of AGI by 2025. This was made back in, I think, 2022 or 23. And a 25% chance by the 2030s that we will achieve AGI. Similarly, Shane Legg, DeepMind co-founder, claims that I think there is a 50% chance of human-level AGI by 2028. And there are others who claim on similar lines. Then we have the revised optimists. There are researchers who previously anticipated longer timelines, but now suggest a window of 5 to 20 years. This group includes luminaries such as Geoffrey Hinton, who is both a Turing Award winner and a Nobel laureate, Yoshua Bengio, also a Turing Award recipient, and Demis Hassabis, another Nobel laureate. Finally, we have the foundationalists. They take a more cautious view. They argue that the current systems lack essential ingredients such as causal reasoning, grounded perception, or architectural completeness. This group includes Turing Award winners like Jan LeCun or Julia Pearl. So the key takeaway or the key point here is that there is no agreement, not just on the timing, but on what even AGI is. This lack of consensus makes it harder to benchmark progress and easier for the hype to fill in. And that brings us to the next question. When will AGI arrive? So there is no single answer to that because there is no shared definition of what AGI is. Without agreement on what we are aiming for, it's no surprise that the estimates vary widely. So there is no single definition of AGI, and the differences aren't just technical. So they often reflect contrasting goals, assumptions, and priorities across labs. So if you look at 4 leading labs, we can see that OpenAI defines AGI through the lens of economic value, highly autonomous systems that can outperform humans on tasks that matter economically. DeepMind shifts the focus to generality, systems that can perform well across many tasks, solve novel problems, and be benchmarked across tiers. Anthropic, on the other hand, emphasizes on behavior, and Jan LeCun at Meta pushes a modular system approach. His focus is on building systems with modules for perception, memory, world modeling, planning, and reasoning. And each definition leads to a different design choice, different metrics, and different ideas for success. We will look at each of these positions in more detail. And let's start with OpenAI's definitions. So OpenAI's definition of AGI comes directly from their original charter back in 2018. The core idea is to develop highly autonomous systems that can outperform humans at most economically valuable work. The philosophical view here is focused on substitution, systems that takes over tasks where human labor currently adds more value or adds the most value. And the operational goal is clear. We need to outperform humans on economically important tasks And the validation strategy follows from that, using benchmarks that map to market relevant outcomes. For instance, OpenAI used their own internal code base to test their O3 reasoning models. So there is an interesting question that is built into this framing. What counts as economically valuable work? It changes over time. So if you consider in the 19th century, the economically most valuable work would have been agriculture, and AGI would have looked much like a tractor because it could outperform most humans in agriculture. So today it might be coding, translation, or creative work. So this lens frames AGI not as a kind of mind, but as a general purpose tool, automating tasks that when humans do them require intelligence. And now DeepMind takes a different approach. It would be ideal to say that AGI is not necessarily a switch, it is a staircase. So DeepMind frames AGI in terms of broad human-like cognitive ability. The goal moves beyond mere automation to that of general intelligence. Systems that can adapt, reason, and solve new problems. Their operational definition is performance-based, reaching human or superhuman levels on a wide range of cognitive tasks. And they validate this using benchmarks. So to make this more precise, DeepMind outlines a 5-level progression for AGI capability. So at the base of that spectrum is what we call as the emerging AGI. So all the systems that you see today, the GPTs and the clouds and the Geminis, these are where the today's leading models sit. They are in the emerging category. They show early signs of generalization and show performance on narrow tasks. I mean, they show high performance on narrow tasks. The next level is competent systems. These are systems that can match average human performance across a wide range of tasks. And DeepMind notes that no system has reached this level yet. Then comes expert systems. These systems matches top human performance in most domains. So here we are talking about a single system or a modular system that can outperform the best humans in their respective domains. Then comes virtuoso, which even exceeds even the best humans consistently across all domains. And finally, superhumans, systems capable of doing things no human can, like autonomous science or discovering new theories. This framing turns AGI into a measurable developmental gradient. And compared to OpenAI's emphasis on economic substitution, DeepMind's view is more cognitive and more gradual. Now let's turn to Anthropic, which approaches it from a behavioral point of view. So Anthropic centers its definition around what it calls as powerful AI without really directly referring to an AGI. And these are systems that are autonomous, safe, and general purpose. Operationally, they define powerful AI as a system that's smarter than a Nobel laureate across domains and capable of acting coherently over long time spans, days, or even weeks. So when it comes to validation, Anthropic takes a governance-first approach, deploying systems only after crossing the predefined capability thresholds under policies like responsible scaling and constitutional AI. So this is reflected in their view of capability as a function of risk. So they have, again, a 5-level approach, but from the lens of safety and responsible AI. It begins with proto-AGI, systems that behave like general reasoning agents, multitask goal-directed and moderately autonomous systems. Then comes AGI systems or AGI proper systems, where systems that sustain expert-level reasoning and scientific problem solving across time. Then comes dangerous AI, capable of manipulation, deception, or even cyber offense. And finally, transformative AGI, systems with world-changing implications, whether economic, political, or military. So underpinning this progression are three criteria that Anthropic uses to track risk, which is the long horizon coherence, autonomy with expertise, and agency with control. So now if you look at Lakevin's view of intelligence, he altogether do not want to again coin the term or use the term AGI quite often. Instead, he calls advanced machine intelligence as a holy grail. At its core, his view challenges the idea that scaling language models alone is not the path to intelligence, which is now being accepted by many strong proponents of scaling laws. Instead, what he proposes, what Liquin proposes, is modular, self-supervised systems grounded in real-world interaction. So operationally, AMI combines multiple modules. These include perception, memory, world modeling, planning, action, all leading to objective-driven AI that rely on internal models to pursue goals and make decisions. And they evaluate it by placing them in interactive environments where the agent must plan, act, and